A real quick recap um, of part one of this whole thing. Last week, I got to meet with a couple individuals. I see a repeat again here today, like Leslie and Nate, which is awesome. We started talking a little bit about the visionary and the integrator and how they're two separate people, and you should have one on each side of those in your business, what the importance of that actually is.
What's that?
Um, And a majority of the people that actually have been showing up are visionaries, and I have a
She
few
didn't go out with everybody the other day,
integrators.
went to the gym.
I have a few integrators or a few people that think that they might be integrators that I've gotten to speak to a little bit as well. So I went over soft skills and hard skills um, because a lot of people end up talking about issues that they have either communicating with their visionary or with their integrator. And then any of the visionaries that are looking for integrators, they tend to, want to kind of look for that diamond in the rough, the unicorn, so they say. So they're looking at all of the things that this person can do. So I kind of broke it down and let everybody know, like, hey, you should be focusing a little bit more on those soft skills right from the beginning when you're having conversations with people. And I have found four of them that I actually go by every single time I have a conversation with somebody that I'm thinking about implementing into my business on the operational side. Those four soft skills are communication, empathy, resilience, and continuous learning. Now, due to speaking about bringing somebody on so high level in the business, we put a little bit of emphasis on the communication and why communication is so important and such an important factor to actually look at when you're speaking to somebody. But that kind of breaks down a little bit more, not just how they communicate, but also how you communicate. Again, I've seen a lot of people that have like, oh, I just can't communicate with my visionary or oh, soft skills, communication, empathy, resilience, and continuous learning were those four, Aaron. At least those were the four, in my humble opinion, that I break it down to that I look for when I'm speaking to somebody for the first time. A lot of people will say that they have issues communicating back and forth between the integrator and the visionary. It happens all the time, and it's definitely going to happen quite a bit in the beginning because me, myself, I could sit here and tell you that I'm an amazing communicator all day long, but I can guarantee you that I've spoken to a couple of people that it just wasn't as effective. It just wasn't there. Because even though to myself I communicate very well, to others I might not. So what once you start actually going into that territory, it kind of boils down into you being able to pay attention how other people communicate as well, so that you can try to get to that level when communicating with them. And this comes down to many different things like the way that they perceive information, how much information they're able to take in at a time, being able to see social cues, facial cues, being able to understand how to navigate a conversation with the person that's sitting across from you. Not a lot of people will put focus on building that skill, only being able to speak. For anybody that I've jumped on one-on-ones with, one of the tips that I shared with everybody earlier in the week was have something recording your Zooms. I love to communicate via Zoom rather than text, messenger, or phone calls. That's because we're visually in front of each other. I can see you face to face, but then I can record the entire conversation. And then I'm able to go back, review those. I'm able to see my expressions, how I was carrying myself, how I was speaking and presenting. I'm able to review how you may have received the information based off of your reactions, the way that you reacted to the conversation. And then I'm able to utilize that. And the next person that I speak to and I start seeing some of those same things, I'm like, okay, now I have to pivot the conversation because I remember seeing that before. Apologize, mouth is a little dry. So that was the recap of last week. I gave everybody some homework to pay attention to how they communicate, but then pay attention to how people are reacting when they communicate to them. Do that for a couple weeks and just kind of jot and journal that and see where you see patterns and how you can change some of the ways that you communicate and hopefully have better quality conversations. Today, we're going to focus a little bit more on the operational side of the business. It's something that I know it sounds very, very daunting. Nobody really wants to deal with operations. That's why we bring on these people to do it for us. Well, most people anyway. Anybody right now, I know there's a couple people that have mentioned that they have business partners or they're looking for business partners and looking to bring on operations managers. Is there anybody that has any bottlenecks right now on the operational side of their business that they'd like to speak about for a moment?
I'll talk. I'm always good with
No,
that.
absolutely.
Um, oh gosh, bottleneck. It's not a bottleneck anymore because I completely dismantled it because I was such a mess trying to run a wholesale company. Rashawn was in there for a little while, so he knows. Yeah, I'm an extreme visionary. I have attention deficit. Great ideas, love people, can talk to anybody, put me in front of 10,000 people, I could do a speech without a problem. When it comes time to write a contract, I have a complete panic attack. I can create and come up with all kinds of ideas for everything, but anything on that back end where it's like, okay, it's time to write the contract and send it. I total, like, no joking, panic attack, anxiety attack. I can't even look at the paper. And it's destroyed my business. So, and I have brought people on hoping that maybe they were I think I didn't know what to look for. I brought people on, thinking that they were my yang, but they were actually closer to my yin. And so, because I didn't know what I needed to be looking for in a yang. So that's why I'm here.
So I guess we could take 2 seconds real quick if everybody doesn't mind, kind of break that down a little bit. So when you were looking for those people, were you kind of looking for those people that were similar to you, kind of like somebody that you can get along with to actually operate this business with?
Probably, I would see certain things and I'd be like, okay, well, maybe that's the skill that I needed, and what had happened was, I started with, being a part of the challenges and,
Okay.
running teams for the challenges. And then I would see, somebody with skills that was, organizing everything. And I was like, oh, maybe they're an operator and, I can, try to get them to get on the team and help me, or, I would just be like, okay, well, but then what ended up happening was a lot of the people that were in the challenges were new, right? So they weren't beyond me or at where my level is at. So they didn't, and another issue was they wouldn't self-train, where I'm the person that just, I'll figure it out, I'm going to self-train myself.
Right.
I'm going to figure, don't worry, you don't even have to like worry about me. And I'm like, I'm doing it. So I couldn't train them because was my hole was I needed them to fill that hole. And how could I train them for a hole that I don't know how to, what goes in it. Right. So
Oh,
I just
100%.
kept failing. So
that's actually one of the reasons that James and I ended up putting this group together, is to have a space to be able to. So we do heavily focus on equipping and help training some of those integrators or the ops people that you do bring into your business to help heighten them up to a higher level within your business. I love talking to newbies all day long. And it's not necessarily it's not necessarily the training side of it, but just being able to provide resources and kind of help them
that's
along
what
the
I
way and in
do.
their journey.
Yes,
Oh,
I
100%.
usually direct everybody and I'm like, okay, now you're off. Oh, you got this, you know?
Oh,
So,
100%. Communication is kind of boils into that situation again a little bit too. That's one of those when you have those newbies that coming on, are you breaking down like what the vision actually is for what you're working on and where you're working towards?
I think because we were in challenges, it was just, close a deal. I don't know, Rashawn,
Kind of.
you were there for some of it. What did you see that I might have been missing
As far as what?
for like helping people to, you know,
I'm not sure. I think I came on kind of late, so and I wasn't in too many of the challenges either.
yeah, but you've been around, like me a little bit. He's the closest that I can come to an unbiased opinion right now. So he's like kind of seeing me around and seeing stuff that I've done. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been a mess. That's all I can say. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
no problem. And I'd actually love to be able to jump on a call with you as well. Most people know that I love jumping on one-on-ones. It's where I spend most of my time actually these days.
saying that to your kid. Okay. So tell
Yeah,
me,
he
okay,
gave me a
so
little
you're
pat on
not
the back.
James then.
Oh, I am James.
You are
I have
James.
two, I have too many Jameses in my life and in these businesses. Not only do I have James Hostert, which is a good dear friend of mine, and he is the counterpart of Systems in Sync and everything that we're doing, but also in my real estate business, one of my four partners' name is, you guessed it, James. So my poor wife can't get away from him, not get away from the name.
Okay. Good to
But
know.
yeah, yes, I would love to. Let's reach out to each other after this and have a further conversation on that. Do a little bit more of a deep dive. Um, but clarity, as most of the people know, at least half of the people in here should know, and we might have to have some words if you don't. You should definitely have that big picture in mind. Those big picture goals. What is it that you're doing all of this for? Where are you going? When it comes to finding your counterpart, if you are a visionary, the key role for you is to be able to break that down and communicate it effectively. Andrew, I see you got your hand raised, brother.
Hey, yeah. I had a thought about what Lizane, did I pronounce your name right? Lizane? I had a thought about that. I don't know if I'm on top of things, but what I was thinking, and it's kind of what I experienced with my ops manager and some integrators I've worked with as well. And it's kind of how I had to adjust my hiring process is they're expecting to sit into a job, like a 9 to 5. Like, what's my job? Give me my duties. What am I supposed to do? And I'm like, well, you're an entrepreneur. I'm not going to sit here and teach you and instruct you granularly every little task that you're supposed to be doing. At least that was my experience. And it kind of sounded like what Lizane was describing. I was like, oh, I went through that too. Like, I don't even know how to train you because I'm not the integrator, right? Like I can tell you some of the systems and CRMs to use and kind of point you in the right direction. But a lot of the ops managers that I'd hired, and interviewed, they were looking for that 9 to 5. Like, tell me what to do 24/7. I was like, well, that's not what this position is. So I don't know if that articulates or clarifies the problem a little more.
Thank you for that, Andrew.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've had a couple conversations revolving around that,
Maybe.
but it is just like you said. And actually, as we move on to this, one of the things that I was going to talk about is some of the things that we were able to see early on in our business. Sorry, bear with me one moment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem. I was just trying to find the mute button. Yeah, one of the things that I was actually going to go over today is involving similar situations like that when it comes to the operations managers, and even depending on how developed your team is, like My team, we have 4 partners. 2 of us would be considered integrators, 2 would be considered visionaries. Then we have the operations manager, and then we have an underwriter that's under the operations manager as well. But before I get into that, I just want to ask and see if anybody has any clarification on this. When I do mention operational and I mention integrator, what's the first thing that pops into your guys' heads?
Technology.
Systems.
Stress.
Mm.
Who's that stress?
Spreadsheets.
Sean said
Organization.
stress.
I love that.
I mean, it's like a business mindset, somebody
Yeah.
who knows organization, numbers, how to, what you need to do to tweak it to make it work better. That's
Okay.
my head.
Pansy, I love that you said system or technology. Rashawn, I love that you said systems. Lizane, I love that you brought that up as well. The clear understanding of all of you know, more in depth of all of that. When we do speak about systems, we're actually speaking about the people that are in your business, the people that you have in place. They're going to dictate the systems that you have in your business. And the only reason that I bring that up and why I bring it back to people every single time, I've told plenty of you guys, I'm going through John Maxwell really heavily at the moment. And there's a couple things in the lesson that I actually went through today that really, really stuck out to me. The first quote that he says was, you want to talk about any area of success in my life, and what I'm going to do is give you the names of people. When we're speaking from that high level position and we're pushing to be that high level position, we're not going out there and explaining to people that when they build their businesses out, they need to go use, whether it's Go High Level or Podio. We're not speaking about the specific systems and how they need to navigate through a Google Drive and Google Sheets. We're consistently talking about the people we start with the counterpart, and then we continuously speak about the people that you're implementing into your business under yourself or under yourself and your counterpart. And there's a reason that's so important. Now, a couple months back, I ended up getting back into real estate. For those of you that I don't know, I've been going at this we're coming up on 4 years now within real estate. I come from a culinary background. I knew nothing about any of this getting into it. Absolutely nothing. I spent the first 2.5, close to 3 years working on wholesaling. I was like, that's what I got to do. That's what everybody's telling me to do. I set a goal. We got into it. My wife's like, hey, you're going to leave that. You're not making enough. COVID had just hit. I'm working 70, 80 hours a week. I don't get to see my kid. I don't get to spend any time with her. So like, it's barely covering the bills. Get into this. I start looking into it. And the very first thing I see is wholesale. I'm like, hey, this is a scam. And she goes, no, we're doing it. You need to do this. Happy wife, happy life. So I really didn't have a choice. So I dove right in. A week into it, I gave us a goal. I gave myself a goal, said that it was our goal, is that I was going to own a duplex in a year and we were going to house hack. Now that first year had come and gone and I wasn't anywhere close to having that duplex. So I was like, it's all right, babe. This year is going to be our year. We didn't have the money to carry out the rest of the year. It was just the hopes that this stuff was going to work. Spend another half year, nowhere close. So I actually went back to a W-2 for a little bit. It didn't take me that long at the W-2 this time around to realize that I made a huge mistake going back. It's like, I know there's something there that I'm missing. There's something that I got to do. I got to get back into it. So left the W-2. I was like, hey, let's give this thing another shot. Now, this time around, I decided, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to become a connector. That's easier. I could just talk to people, connect deals, and get paid. No, I spent 3 months on Zooms. Most of the time, from the moment I dropped my son off at school at, was it 8 in the morning? Some days I was up till 1, 2 a.m. on back-to-back Zoom for weeks straight. Still nowhere closer to getting that duplex, and so far away from getting a wholesale deal done. Well, one of the wholesale teams that I had tried to put together the year before that with a couple of people, there was somebody on that team that reached out to me at that point and was like, hey, where are you at in your business? I was like, nowhere. It's like, I have somebody that I need you to talk to. We need a little bit of help. I know what skills you have on the integrator side. Now, mind you, at that time, I wasn't telling anybody I was an integrator or any of that. I was telling everyone I'm a closer. I'm a closer because that's what's going to get me that duplex. But it was far from the truth. So I got to meet, and some of you guys know him, probably most of you guys know him, Jesse Stanton, dear friend of mine. I got to actually speak with him, and I told my wife after that conversation, I was like, that's the most awkward conversation I've ever had in my life. And that was the day that I stopped everything, completely backed out of real estate after I had that conversation with him. And it wasn't because that's what he told me to do. He just told me he was doing too much. And I ended up jumping on with him, still involved with him as well. I ended up jumping on with him and started learning a lot about myself, learned a lot about him, learned a lot about other investors, learned a lot about business in and of itself. And I took that time as, I want to say it was about 9 months when all was said and done. At the end of that 9 months, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get back into real estate. We're going to do it. But this time, I'm actually going to buy properties. I'm not going to deal with any of that other stuff. So I knew at that point, it was like, all right, I need to start putting those people under me. I need to start the operations manager. Well, my prospective partner at the time, lo and behold, did all of that. I'm an integrator. Technically, he's an integrator. So like, you know what? Let's not bring an ops manager on for right now. Let's just bring an underwriter on. So that's what we ended up doing. That partnership started to fizzle out. Underwriter was second guessing himself with some of the properties that he was underwriting. And he came to me, and this is one of my favorite stories that I always tell everybody when we're in a one-on-one call, is the whole situation with the underwriter. He came to me and he goes, James, I need a second set of eyes on this property because I'm not confident in my numbers. And the first thought that popped in my head was, dude, this is what I brought you on for. I'm not good at this. So now we have a problem. Now, most people, when they first get into business, what's your first thought? Lizane, I'm sorry, I'm going to pick on you real quick just because you're the first person that I see. What's your first thought when somebody comes to you that they don't know how to do something?
Oh, I mean, what is it that you want to do? Who, where are you going? All right, what do you need? And then we figure out who to connect them with, pretty much.
You're already one step ahead. Most people's first thought goes right to training. But how do you train somebody something that you don't know? That means you're probably going to have to go spend 30 hours this week figuring it out yourself and bringing that back.
I'm not doing
Instead, yeah. Instead, because of the way that I operate and the position that I put myself in, I have other people that are able to take care of a lot of the day-to-day nitty-gritty. I'm able to focus on those bigger decisions and actually doing things that are going to move the needle. So rather than spending that 30 hours, I was able to take 30 seconds to send a text out to a dear friend of mine steps in the other James. James is a goat at underwriting and deep analysis for anybody that doesn't know him. So I'm like, hey, Jim, my underwriter needs a little bit of help. Would you mind jumping on a Zoom with him this week? There you go. I'm on to talking to more people. I'm on to talking to more lenders, getting funding into the business. And now that whole leg is going. It didn't cost me anything but a blink of an eye and a couple thumb taps on my phone screen. A couple months later, I ended up speaking to Jim and the other gentleman, Jeff, again, and we were just kind of tossing back and forth some of the bottlenecks that we were having in our business. And we decided, hey, we've got a solid idea. You guys are bringing on an operations manager. I have an underwriter. I've also got a phenomenal marketer in my.
All right, Brian. Here's how much Donald Trump was able to get done during his first term, in spite of the impeachment and the protests and the riots and the hate and all that. This really can be a golden age.
Richard. There you go. Keep losing everybody in the chat. So we started discussing those bottlenecks, and we're like, all right. Their side was not quick enough with the underwriting and the deals that were coming in the quality. I'm like, all right, sweet. You guys have the operations manager. I have an underwriter, killer marketer. Why don't we just work together? So for a little while there, it was fun. It was interesting. We were meeting twice a week at that point. Now we're only meeting once a week, and we're still able to accomplish what most people end up having to meet 4 or 5 times a week for. Now, in the beginning, it was kind of funny because Jim, again, also an integrator, we both have different skill sets. Now, this is why I tell people, like, yes, it's important to see what people have for hard skills, but that's not always a determining factor, because Jim and I are both really good at systems. But if you want to start talking, go high level, some of those other systems and dealing with automations, I'm your guy. You want to start talking about Google Sheets, which I'm still old school, and I'm still, Microsoft Office is the way to go for me. And I've never been able to adapt over to Google Sheets yet. He's a wizard, phenomenal. So we're continuously telling each other, how much of kings we are in the integration space. Yeah, we both sit at that same level. So as we're kind of getting this thing going, Google is fantastic for ADHD. But as we continue to get this thing going, things are running smooth. We started setting goals. We're like, 6 months to maybe 9 months, we'll actually start taking down properties because we're going to revamp all of the stuff that we're doing. We're going to start hitting it really hard. We're going to start from ground zero with connections. Now we've streamlined it to 3 months. Now that was a big deal. Like, dude, 3 months, we're signed. We got a contract. We actually closed in 2 days on that. But as we were dealing with that, we started to notice something. When we went and we looked back at our pipeline, there's a lot of missed opportunity in there. A lot of missed opportunity. We had to go back. We had to double check our systems, our processes, and double check our people. Can anybody guess, or does anybody want to take a stab at what happened?
You're talking about why you missed all those opportunities?
Yeah.
The new incoming stuff?
Yeah.
You have somebody on it.
They
that
were
was following
they
up.
were
Yeah, no
they were
follow-up.
getting. Do you know why?
You are seeing the same things?
No.
You needed a visionary.
No.
For me, the issues that I had with follow-up was just, typically on the newer leads, it's somebody who is newer, to real estate. And I just have had a really hard time finding people that will do the work, so I don't know. The
Our
underwriting,
communication started slacking. Out of all of the things our communication started slacking between the partners, from the partners whose duty it was to keep tabs with the operations manager whose part of their duty was to keep tabs with the underwriter. We started lacking communication and where things were in the pipeline because we were dealing with that one property that came in and we were all hands on deck. So being able to identify that and come back, you always want to review, always review, always review. That was one of the things that we learned. And I changed it around again. By the way, failing, I love to do it as much as possible. This is how we make these things better. It's how we get better. It's how we get bigger, bigger and bigger and bigger. But once we came back and once we really started to identify exactly where those areas were, and why communication was affecting us so much, that we really started to notice that Jim, who was the second set of eyes on the deep analysis after the operations manager was done with the property, to get it over to us to make a decision on whether we wanted to move on it or not, that started to slack. And since that started to slack, the operations manager's communication with some of the wholesalers or even some of the sellers, because we have direct sellers that come in as well. One of the deals that we ended up losing was a killer deal, and we were excited about it. And at the end of the day, we got kind of heated and we got a little bit, we got a little mad that we lost out on that opportunity because it was right there. He was ready to sign too. And we found out that he ended up assigning it to somebody else because we didn't know that it took, with that 2 weeks that we thought that everything was good and golden, that the operations manager had not reached out or reached back out to him to let him know where we were in the process of our due diligence. But we couldn't put that on the operations manager either. We had to put it on ourselves because it started from one person who was the first contact, which was myself, who then handed it off to the operations manager and Jim. So now we have 3 different people that were involved in that. And then the other 2, as well as those 2, myself not included, they were all under the assumption that the person that had first contact was going to be doing the follow-up, to where I had the assumption that the operations manager was going to be doing the follow-up because it fell in that scope. So there was no clear picture on how that was supposed to go, and there was no clear communication on that. Now, if this was the old me, I would have canned the operations manager and be like, we lost the deal because of you. But I had to take a step back and realize, hey, why did that happen? How can I prevent that moving forward? That's why communication plays such a crucial role in the operations in your business, not only between you and whoever's sitting high level, but everybody else that's on the team. And it's got to be clear and effective. Well, Zane, it looks like you might have some thoughts. I'm sorry, I know I keep picking on you, but
Oh, no, it's okay. No, I'm thinking just about, my stuff and, not setting an outline for who does what in the business exactly. That upfront, and filling out all those lines. And I guess, a lot of it is also coming back together and going, okay, is there something we forgot to put on that? This is how the business runs, right? We have
right.
to, but loss is how you grow, right? So
100%.
that's how you guys probably figured out.
You want to know the craziest part about that entire situation when we realized where those bottlenecks were? the deal that we're closing on, do you know where that deal came from? The same seller that we lost the first deal with.
Oh,
Because as soon as we realized that we had an issue in our process and within the systems, I pride myself on communicating as best as I can, but also transparency. We owned it. I reached out to that seller directly and said, "Hey, this isn't the image that I want to put off, but I do apologize. We realized that we had a couple of issues going on within our internal system. You know, I respect I respect if you don't want to work with us anymore moving forward." 2 days later, I got a random text from him. "Hey, I want to get rid of this other property. Do you
oh,
guys want to take a look at it?" Yeah. Yeah, we do. Guess how long it took us to make a decision on that property? Because we went back and we reviewed our systems and we made those changes. We locked it up in less than a week.
wow.
Yeah. And then it goes even further. We already had the lenders, phenomenal rates. Everything was going to be amazing. Earlier last week, so a week before close, the lenders came back and said, "Hey, we missed a couple spots in our due diligence." So now we found out, hey, we might not have funding for this last minute. First thing we did was communicate with each other. We got into a huddle. We all figured out what we were going to be doing moving forward for the next couple of days. Who was doing what? We made it happen. Now we revived the whole thing. You know, the lenders are still on board. We got everything smoothed over. We figured it all out. That seller reached out to me 2 days after and said, "Hey, my agent just told me that there is a change in the paperwork. Does this affect anything?" So now he's worried. He's like, "We already had one issue." I said to him, "Hey, dude, no. As far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, we are closing on schedule. Nothing's changed. But here's the situation and here's what happened." And I laid it all out on the table for him. Do you think he got cold feet? I know I would. And that's 2 strikes right there.
No, because you're being transparent.
Yeah.
People
He actually
appreciate that.
Yeah. He actually complimented the team about how we communicate and the integrity that we have behind what we do. All because of finding that bottleneck, figuring it out, and coming back and being able to communicate effectively. Nate, I'm going to pick on you real quick, brother,
Woohoo.
because one, I don't see your partner in here.
I've been trying to get him
But
in here.
no.
He's having some problems getting in here. I don't know
No,
what's
that's
going
fine.
on.
So, yeah, I know you guys are a little bit on the wholesale side a little bit, but
Yes.
anything of what I've gone over so far kind of sound familiar
Oh yeah.
to anything that you guys might be having issues with in your business?
A little bit here and there. Some stuff with the bottlenecking. I feel like when I get a lot of leads across my table, I'm not a fast integrator. Although I'm somewhat good at it, I would like to have a better, quicker integrator who could just get all the information in and just get it out of the way. As soon as something comes my way, get it in the CRM.
100%. So that's one of the reasons I have to jump on with you and your partner, because we got to start talking about more of that high level and difference in thinking and becoming a completely different person moving forward.
Yeah.
All right. Bob, I'm going to pick on you for a quick second because I have not met you yet, and this is the first time I've seen you.
Yeah, I got in late. I got the invite for the last one and then decided I'd follow up. It's nice to have
No.
a smaller group and just talk about systems and stuff. So I'm
No, not a
I'm an-
problem.
Yeah, I'm in Oregon, started out in wholesale, did a couple
Hmm.
wholesale deals, and then I decided, gosh, there's all these moving parts and there's so much competition. I'm going to learn multifamily. So I did the Peter Conte Real Estate 101 uh, platform, and for a little while I was doing that, I discovered Pace Morby, and the two different environments were uh, Morby was not in the multifamily quite yet, but now he is. So that's a good thing. So, but anyway, I've met a lot of wholesale folks, so I'm trying to get my traction into staying with my folks, doing the connector part with funds and transactions. And then on the commercial side, I'm going to start in parking uh, type and storage facilities is my goal. So anyway, there you go. That's my short story.
I'd love to be able to talk to you sometime to expand a little bit more on that. I hope that what I did go over today was at least a little helpful for you. Um, I know sometimes it's a little bit difficult to speak to newer people as they come in because I'm not exactly sure at what playing field you are on and where you're at in your journey.
Yeah, continuing training. So it's like anything. Uh, it's always good to hear it more than once, and you you repeat your systems, uh, so everybody acknowledges it. That's always good.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I said, as I've said all the way through this, what I consider systems in my business are the people that are in my business. And if it wasn't for those people, I would not be where I'm at today. I would not be sitting in a Zoom being able to tell you guys any of the horror stories that I've gone through, any of the areas that I've really failed, any of the areas that I'm winning at. None of that would happen without those people and those systems in place.
So I have a question. How did you find those people?
The business partners or the people that are
Everybody that
under
you have
the
right
business
now
partners.
surrounding you. How did that come about? Because I mean, for me, I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Intentionality first.
I think I doubt myself.
Human nature. We do all the time. But it's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to be scared
I
and
think
push
it's
forward. And
I think it's a matter of just climbing that mountain and just putting yourself out there, networking, just
Yep.
even if you don't know anything or anyone, you know.
Intentionality, though,
Like that
holds supreme to everything.
I think it's the intentionality because I feel like I don't even know what I'm supposed to be looking for, kind of, and I'm just so putting myself out there. That's not a problem. I mean,
Yeah.
that's easy, but
It's all about what you're attracting, though, as well. So, like, if I wanted to bring somebody
true.
onto my business, I'm not just going to throw a post out there like, hey, I'm looking to bring somebody onto my business and I have an acquisitions business. Hit me up. Because
right.
then I'm going to get 100 people wanting to jump on a call and I'm going to waste my time with about 98 of those people. Instead, I'm going to be very intentional about what I'm saying and what I'm putting out there. Hey, I'm looking for, an integrator counterpart in my business. I'm looking for somebody that at least has an understanding of, these 4 areas of soft skills and are willing to continuously learn and continuously grow with me. If this sounds like you, let's jump on a call and see if we can align our big picture goals. So now people know exactly what or who you're looking for. And it's okay if you need 3 or 4 people in your business. Knock them down one by one. Don't try to attract all 4 at the same time.
I saw Nate just put up something. Stevie Brown sent you what?
Yeah, someone sent me a JV.
There
Oh,
you go.
Stevie.
Yeah.
Stevie's fun. Tell her that Lizanne says hi. You're on a Zoom. with
Oh,
her.
you know her.
Oh, I love Stevie.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
So that's what I'm going to end up doing for you, Lizane.
Yes,
That's going
Stevie
to be
Brown,
your homework.
Arizona.
My
Sorry.
homework is to.
Your
Oh,
homework.
gosh.
Yep. I love giving homework. Rashawn, you know. Your homework
I
is to
hate
go
homework.
figure out is to go define your big picture goal. Get
Oh,
clarity on it. Why are you doing all of this? What is it all for? What is that big picture goal? You're going to go define that. Then you're going to figure out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. Then you can start to put the list together of what skills you need to be added into your business. And then you'll have a little clarity on who you're going to go target.
okay. So when you say define your big picture goals,
Yep.
how specific do I need to be? Because I know why I'm doing this. I know it's changed. My big picture goal has changed multiple times over the past year, right?
Right. Well, let me real quick hear your definition of the big picture goal.
Well, when I started my big picture goal, I mean, the reason for doing all of this is my kids. I'm a single mom. I've got my youngest has autism. Something happens to me. I'm an older parent. So something happens to me. I need to make sure that there's something coming in that is passive every month to where my two older children can care for their younger brother without having to worry about things.
Okay.
You know,
That's
so
great. I love that. That's better than an answer I get from a lot of people, honestly. Most people come back with, 10 properties a month, 50 properties a year, having this or having that.
see, that's what
That does nothing for me if I ask you what your big picture goal is, if I'm being completely honest. And that's another thing. I can be brutally honest sometimes, so I do apologize.
see, now I
That's
thought
not a
that
big picture
was the
goal.
big picture goal. And that's
No.
why I'm like, oh, I'm failing at this big picture goal because everybody's like, well, aren't you acquiring houses? And I'm like, heck no, I'm renting right now. I sold my house. I'm renting because I don't want to have to babysit other human beings. Like I'm over it. I'm like I want simplicity and I have to figure out what kind of I'm unsure of what the passive income is going to be to where I'm
That's
not
perfect. That's perfectly fine.
like babysitting
Real,
adults.
real estate, if you want my honest opinion about real estate, and this is the real James talking for everybody here, real estate is, to me, is not something that's going to be the end all be all that's going to give me my big picture why. It's going to serve as a vehicle to allow me to do what I'm passionate about, which is inevitably going to be what gives me my big picture why.
So are you going to share what you're really passionate about then? Don't leave us hanging.
This right here, exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
And I didn't even realize it till a couple months ago. I didn't even realize that this was a passion of mine until a couple of months ago. Even though I seem nervous as all heck jumping into some of these Zooms and jumping on the podcast, I love it. I enjoy it. Ask Haley. I'll probably be talking her ear off, and she's probably going to be telling me like I'm ready to go to bed. Like this is what I do. Like in the mornings, my day is off if I can't get a Maxwell lesson in.
Love it.
Or whoever I'm following, if I don't get that lesson in to get something teachable that I can bring back to other people, my whole day is off. I love it. I love doing it. But without real estate, I probably wouldn't have the time to be able to actually do that. And my big picture why? Being a nomad.
I love it.
We want a Class A and we want to be able to travel. And what's beautiful about everything that I'm doing right now, from the real estate to getting into doing all of this stuff, is I can do this from anywhere. Anywhere.
You know, I was setting myself up for that plan before I found real estate. So I have some tips and tricks.
Yeah. There's no better time than right now to start, honestly.
Yeah. I've been traveling. I just haven't been doing it the way that I originally had it set up. So each year it's getting better and I'm improving. So
Wow. You can drive your Class A to me if you want to sell it to me, brother. No, just kidding. But yeah. Earlier starts right now. And for some people, it's not even real estate. I know Leslie, it's not real estate for Leslie. Sorry to pick on you. We chatted a little bit last time. It's other businesses. But her being able to get those systems into place and actually being able to get those other businesses to run, that's really going to be able to drive her to be able to do her passion. It's a little blurry.
I know I was trying to share my new book, Where I'm Headed.
I just got that book as well, Pansy.
Yeah.
Others know.
I'd love to know what Leslie's, what kind, do you feel, does Leslie feel like she has to know exactly what kind of businesses she's looking for? Or like, is it just a general search and it'll land when you'll know it when it hits?
I'm confused about whether Lizanne, is it Lizanne?
Lizanne, yeah.
Might be
My mother
confused.
doesn't know how to spell, sorry.
I'm gonna go really, really quickly. 20 years ago, I was a realtor, then I was a wholesaler, then I was a medical commodity buyer, then I was a stock trader and investor, then I bought a pawn shop and a spa, and now I'm back to coaching, stock trading, and investing. But I'm building a team around my coaching business now, and some of them are here. I think I know at least one of them is here. And so I think that was you that was talking. If people start talking about details and contracts and stuff, I get instantly exhausted. Not just anxious, like now I need a nap. My brain just doesn't work like that. And so Rochelle Wilson Ellis is my integrator. You guys gave me a great name for her because I don't like calling her an assistant. So tonight she became my ops manager. So that's the quick bio.
I hope that as we continue to do these, that we get to follow up and see where everybody ends up. So.
Okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm excited to see what businesses other people are in. And that was kind of the idea, I mean, that James and I had when starting to form this and put this together was, yes, we have a lot of the people that are in our circles are in real estate, but a lot of the same foundation is transferable from, it doesn't matter what type of business that you're doing. And it took me a very long time to actually realize that. I come from a culinary background I wanted to own my own restaurant someday, but I didn't really have much of a business background or anything like that. Nothing in real estate. And I didn't realize how many skills were transferable from that. 90% of the way that I lead the team and the way that I make decisions are based off of skills that I built over my entire tenure in restaurant management.
But you were in management.
I was in management.
Okay.
But there's a difference between being a leader and a boss.
There is a huge difference between being a leader and a boss. Because I'm a leader, I can't be a boss.
Now, why I started to realize that climbing the corporate ladder and working a W-2 is not for me was because the way that I led the team over there, which was completely unorthodox from the way that the business liked to actually run their stuff. And by the time I left, I had one cook who actually, I still use it to this day. It's the only knife that I use. He, as a hobby, he started, getting into metalwork and making stuff. So my last day there, he made me a homemade chef's knife, or a handmade chef's knife that he forged himself. And to this day, I still use it every single day. We had plenty of issues where other locations needed help, and the COO of the company came in and would ask people to go to the other stores, and they would say no. And he pulled me up front and goes, I need you to tell your people they need to go. And I said, I can't make them do anything.
Oh.
Did we get along for that? No, not really. But did I get along with my entire staff? Yes. Did I have any issues or clapback when I asked my staff to do anything that was a little bit outside of their scope? No. But at the same time, they knew that I worked my way through that. I've been in the weeds as well. If I saw one of my employees, they were having an issue in the moment, they were getting overworked or they were heated or anything like that. Hey, go take a 10-minute break. I got your spot. Go calm down and come back. And I've gotten that response like, oh, who's going to run the line? I'll do it. No other manager was willing to do that. They'd tell them, they'd yell at them, bark orders to get through the rush, and then you can go have your break. No, go smoke a cigarette if you have to. Ah, but we're 60 tickets in. That's fine. I'll catch up. Huge difference. Sorry, that went a little bit off the path for a second there. But yeah, a lot of those skills I didn't realize were transferable, and I was able to bring over, and they helped me navigate half the conversations that I have, if not more. And those are soft skills that I did, because I didn't understand the difference between soft skills and hard skills either until I started putting myself in a heightened position in the business. But once I started looking into it, I was able to identify it a little bit more. And then I was able to understand what soft skills I had and what soft skills I didn't have, and who I needed to implement that complemented the soft skills that I had.
I feel like the soft skills can also be gained through therapy.
100% they can. There's actually quite a few of them that can be gained through therapy. And if you'd like, I know we went a couple minutes over. By the way, anybody that's in here, you're not obligated to have to continuously stick out or through it. I know I want to be cautious and generous of everybody's time as well. I do appreciate all of you guys jumping in here, especially on a Tuesday night. But Lizane, to break it down for you, if you're looking for an integrator, if you are an integrator, the actual list of soft skills. Now, mind you, I only gave you guys 4 in the beginning of this call. It's the 4 that I gave people last week, because I think those are the 4 critical from the very beginning. Everything else you can work on. Okay. But the actual list of soft skills for a good high-level integrator is going to be communication, leadership, adaptability, problem solving, collaboration, empathy, time management, decision making, resilience, and continuous learning. Those are soft skills.
You got to take those in, James.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I didn't actually clarify in the beginning, does anybody know the difference between soft skills and hard skills? Like what they actually are?
Could you actually list them just one more time? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to write them down.
No, not a problem. So the full list is communication, leadership, adaptability, problem solving, collaboration, empathy, time management, decision making, resilience, and continuous learning.
Thank you.
No, not a problem. So hard skills are the skills that are related to technical knowledge and training. So hard skills are going to be the things like being able to build out automations and workflows, or being able to navigate Google Sheets. Those are hard skills. Now this goes down a web, and James and I are actually putting together quite a few things that are going to go through, like even integrators have avatars. Like there's two main types of integrators, and you have systematic and operational. That's why we call them operations managers. Most people don't have that understanding. The operations managers are integrators. People first think, when you first think integrator, you think, oh, that's somebody that can build out my pipeline for me, build out my workflows. Not always. In fact, when I came in as an integrator in one of the businesses, they had an integrator before me. And they're like, we realized that it wasn't a good fit because we checked in 2 months later and nothing was done in the system. That there, guys, is another communication thing. It wasn't clearly set. The conversation wasn't clear enough. That integrator preferred to be more on the operations side and oversee the systems to make sure that they're working properly, as opposed to actually building them out. So when you guys start thinking about bringing people in your business and you think integrator, when we put our mind first to systematic, somebody that's going to build all of this stuff out, you have to bear in mind you're going to need somebody that can oversee and manage that. And it's okay to not be able to do business alone. I have 4 partners in mind. Hard skills or technical skills, technical and knowledge skills and training. Soft skills revolve around behavioral traits. So we focus on the soft skills first, and we see that they're already one step ahead on the behavioral traits. Then we already know that this person doesn't need that much work to kind of pull on into the role that they're going to play in our business.
How do you determine that up front? That's so hard. It's like dating.
100%.
Hmm.
But you don't know until you have the conversation.
With that being said, how much time in the beginning when you're bringing on an ops manager do you think you should spend together, like, or should it be that you have a clear vision, you're able to give them that information and they kind of just go with it and then come back and say, hey, this is what I have for you, kind of thing?
Yeah, that completely depends on what, honestly, I like to say this and it sounds backwards to some people. It really depends on how fast and small you want to go or how slow and big you want to go.
Right. I'm just
I know,
like
bringing on that ops manager is one of those things, like a couple minutes ago where I was clarifying, like, it's okay to not be able to run a business on your own. If you don't feel as though that you could actually put in the time, or it's something that you don't even enjoy, it's not even anything that you can do, chances are you might actually need a business partner that's able to do that, especially if you're a visionary. Good luck trying to get a visionary to actually sit down with an operations manager and actually have things effectively move in the business.
yeah.
Yep.
My business partner is also more of an integrator, but we've been working together for a while, so he can pick up usually what I'm putting down and roll with it. But
Which is great. If you're the visionary, that means that they should be meeting more and you don't have to be in all those meetings. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're trying to get him out of the role of being the sole integrator, like,
Right.
and put somebody else there so him and I can work more on some other things.
So it really depends on who you actually bring in to put in that place, but also the resources that you have that you can give to that person as well. So again, if you can look at those soft skills, if you can see, okay, this person can communicate great, this person definitely has great resilience, and this person is apt to continuous learning. Great. Now let's start diving into the rest of them. Then we can start. And if you want to be able to pull out quicker, you would start focusing on the leadership, building them up as a leader so that they can actually run the other people that start coming into your business.
Right.
That way there you guys aren't taking time out of what you're doing to now go train. Like when we're planning on bringing another we call it a deep dive underwriter because we do 3 rounds of underwriting. So we have the sniff test, the deep dive, and then the deep analytic. We're actually planning on bringing in another deep dive underwriter to free up some of Jim's time to actually be focusing a little bit more on some of the higher end stuff. Which means instead of training the deep dive analyzer, we're training the operations manager how to be a leader and to be able to effectively lead that team and provide resources. Now, what's wonderful about having somebody in the position of an ops manager within the business is your resources also become their resources. So you as a leader should be supplying that ops manager with resources day in and day out that they in turn can provide those resources to the rest of the team.
I agree. Yeah. That's kind of where we're going with it.
Yeah.
We've listened to a lot of what Jesse has to say, and that's what I was picking up on from things he said and whatnot. So yes, thank you.
Yeah, 100% is not wrong. There's some of the foundational things are, again, transferable from business to business, but that's it. They're foundational. If you can't deal with that foundational stuff, you're not really going to be able to move past that with anything else in your business. Now, everything else, there's no like one true tribe way. That's why I say the term like it all depends on how fast and small you want to go or how slow and big you want to go. Everybody's exit strategies are going to be different. Everybody's business model is going to be different. I speak to people day in and day out, and they range from lenders, connectors to end buyers to wholesalers. But I can tell you the foundation of all the successful ones, their foundation is laid out the same. Even though everything else in the business is different, the foundation is laid out the same.
Have a ways to go still.
That's okay. Just be intentional and take action, and it won't take you as long as you think. You don't want to think of it of like, oh, another one from Maxwell today. Oh, since you brought that up. As you start dredging into this territory deeper and deeper, you're going to realize to become a different person, you're going to have to think completely differently. Now, one of the things that he said that stuck out as far as that part of the conversation went is rather than thinking how fast can I get there, start thinking how far can I go? How far can I take this thing? Because once you start thinking of it that way, time is irrelevant. Then you're going to start to realize that you're going to get there a lot quicker than you think. You're going to look back 3 months from now and you're like, oh, damn, 3 months ago, I thought that was going to take me a year. Like I said in the beginning, we started putting our plan out. We thought it was going to be 6 to 9 months before we took down a deal. But once we stopped focusing on the time frame, things started moving a lot faster. It's like being in school. You don't want to sit there and watch the clock. Now, I would love to give everybody similar homework to what I gave Lisanne. And I would love for you guys to gain clarity on that big picture. I don't want you to go post your big picture, but I want to see how many of you can gain clarity on your big picture to be able to pinpoint exactly who you need this week to be speaking to. And I would love to see you guys post in the group in systems what you're doing and who you need to be talking to.
Okay, when you're saying in the group and systems, where?
In systems and sync, just make a post.
Gotcha.
Make a post telling people who you are and who you need to be speaking to. And I'll pick a winner and connect you with whoever you need. No, I'm just kidding. But I will actually be going through and I'll be taking a look and seeing who else I can actually throw in there to be able to get you guys some conversations with some of the people you need to be talking to.
I'm laughing because I don't even think I'm in the group. How did I end up in here?
I told you I had an amazing marketer.
Ah.
She's my secret weapon.
Like, am I in the group? I am now.
I still kind of wonder how I even got to where I'm at now. Like, how the hell did I even get here?
Because you don't have any clarity on where you're going. You can't have any clarity on what you're going to be doing over this week if you don't know where you're going.
Oh, well, that's definitely true. But I feel like I know where I'm going.
But
It's just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, you know what you're doing, but like in the moment, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what you're doing, you know?
you have it
I
written
don't
down
know how to
anyway.
explain that. Yeah.
Well, you know what you're doing for tasks. You know what you're doing for the day to day. But if you sat down, really thought about it, and reverse engineered it, and put it into action steps that you can, that'll best serve your time.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way Jesse made it sound, kind of, as long as you have clarity on your vision, the right integrator should just kind of be able to take it and build from there and put the right people in place, or at least help you with that. Like, start coming up with those solutions. So
Yeah. So I actually introduced Jesse to a term, and I got this from Maxwell as well, as a hatchet committee. So you, as a visionary, should have your very own hatchet committee.
That's like hatchet, like in
Yes,
eggs
that's what I
hatching.
need because
Like
because we have all these
hatchet.
thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what my business partner is. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's more like I kind of know the people and I can bring people. It's organizing people, keeping track of who I've got. And, when it's ready to deploy certain things, I could be like, yep, them, this person, and this person kind of thing,
Well, that's what you have an integrator partner for.
Yeah. Yep. But we're trying to
Now, I tell people all the time, like, hey, most of the really good visionaries I know, most people call them whack jobs, call them crazy.
So you're calling me a whack job, eh? No, I'm just
Visionaries are you're supposed to be. Visionaries are supposed to be. Many people, I can't tell you how many people have told me that they read the book Rocket Fuel, and then tell me that they have issues communicating, between visionary and integrator,
I was told I
or
was neither.
there's complications between something along the lines between the two. And I'm like, did you really read the book though?
I didn't
Like
read.
it clearly states in there, like you as the visionary, your role is to be throwing all this wacky shit out there. You're supposed to be the creative one. You're supposed to be free. And then you form your hatchet committee. So you have that group, you have your integrator counterpart, and then you have the team behind you that's supposed to say, hey, Pansy, no, that's not going to work. But keep them coming. Keep them coming. Okay, now we got a winner.
Yeah. All right.
There has to be trust between the two.
And you're helping people find their ops manager. Is that part of your business or no?
No, we're helping. I don't necessarily want to say train, but we're helping to teach them how to develop and to become high level.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. But yeah, that hatchet committee is going to be one of the most important things that you have.
I like
Because
that.
your role as the visionary is to bring all of the crazy, wacky ideas. And the integrator's role is to be able to take the ones that are going to work and make that happen.
And
Oh,
hatchet,
all my ideas work one way or another.
when you say hatchet, it makes me laugh because your integrator is going to either use it as a hatchet to crush it because it doesn't work. or
Exactly.
hatch it like an egg.
Yeah. But it's
So-
exactly that. The hatchet committee is exactly that term. You need somebody to be able to chop down some of those things. Your integrator as well is like part of their role is to be able to tell you like, hey, you're kind of wasting your time on this or that. I mean,
also
you could
hatch the
have,
egg and make it happen.
yeah. I mean, if you don't have one personally, you even outside of business, you as an individual should have a hatchet committee, whether that's mentors, whether that's really good friends that you get to speak to, whether that's accountability groups or partners that you're in. You should have a group of people that can sit there and tell you, hey, Pansy, hey, Lizane, you're wasting a lot of time here or there. You need to cut that out. Or where you're like, hey, guys, I'm going to go and I set up 3 meetings this week because I'm going to talk to people about XYZ. Their job is to tell you, hey, Pansy, don't do that. That is not where your time is best served.
I like
Because
that.
we need that reminder. You know, that's the whole thing about a visionary. The visionary sees all of these things and they're like, oh yeah, what we can do this, we can do that. Like what I love about visionaries is they're already at the frame of mind where most people aren't. Most people are like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. Visionaries are always thinking like, well, what if we did this? What if we did that? Hey, how can we make that happen?
Yeah.
But it's also difficult sometimes. And this is not a dig at visionaries, but for visionaries to be able to sit on the realm of reality with some of those ideas, which is why the hatchet committee is important. Because it's a great idea to set up 30 meetings this week and put yourself out there and talk to people. It's a terrible idea if you're not being intentional and speaking to the right people for those 30 calls.
Absolutely. Actually, I don't think I have that problem so much as my integrator does. Like he'll
Well,
get
that's
on
okay.
calls that are unnecessary, and I'm like, did you really? I don't think you should have done that. Like, but hey, you go ahead and do it because it's your choice, you know. But I was telling you it probably wasn't a good idea, you know. So.
Where the soft skills come into play.
Yep.
Yeah.
But being able to also grow together as a team and being able to spot those things and work on those things with each other as well.
Yeah. I like that part for sure. Absolutely. We call each other out on our crap and, you know, like we try to point out the things we are doing well, but we also try to look, we dropped the ball here. How can we do better here? You know, we really do try to discuss all this stuff. Personally, stuff that might be interfering, like you know,
Right.
try to get that out of the way too, so.
Oh
It's
yeah, it's
the
definitely
whole marriage, right?
yeah, it's definitely a process. It is 100% it is a marriage. If you're going into business with somebody, you're marrying them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like whenever I interview people for a position in my business, I let them know straight up like, hey, I don't give equity away. I don't. Maybe we can talk about it like way later down the line. We'll go through what the goalposts are going to be. We'll set up the milestones. We'll talk about it from here and there. We'll keep doing check-ins. We'll see how things are going, but I don't. Do you want to know why?
To
Of course, we
protect
always
both
want to
of
know
you.
why.
No,
Also, yeah.
because what happens if I bring somebody into my business and I'm giving equity away and we have a month to where we close 6 deals, and then 6 months from now, that person turns around and says, James, you're an asshole. I can't stand working with you. Well, guess what? Those 6 properties are like our kids. We got an issue that we have to figure out, and we're still stuck together. So we can't separate and part ways. We have a headache to deal with.
You know, Cody Sanchez said something about partnering like on a deal with someone. Basically, she's getting to know you for at least a year before deciding to get that involved in a business trip, you know, like on the partnership side. I don't blame her. I mean, I've already been in a couple of you know, partnerships that went sideways, you know, quickly.
Oh, yeah.
You know. So.
I've been there. I've done that. A lot of us have, unfortunately.
Yep.
But hey, we go through all of that to bring that back and speak about that with other people and, you know, let other people know what we've gone through and, you know, give them tips, give them advice, give them pointers in the right direction.
The best lessons to learn are from other people's mistakes.
100%. But I am running 2 minutes late now, actually, to my meeting. So I already know that I might get sarcastically yelled at for a couple seconds. It's okay. But that's another thing when it comes down to communication. You and your integrator, or you and your visionary, or you and your team, you should start to form your own language. You should come up with words that have specific words that you know that have meaning behind them when you say, so that communication is clear. Think of, I come from a culinary background. We have heard, or we have sharp, or we have corner. It's one word, but we know what's going on. If somebody says heard, what they really said is, got you, understood, it'll get taken care of. If they say sharp, hey, I'm behind you with a sharp knife, don't turn around or one of us are getting cut. If they say corner, hey, I'm coming around the corner with either a knife or my hands full of stuff. So watch out. When it comes to my team, there's one term that I love, and I'll leave you guys with this note, is love you guys. And you want to know why that's best thing that I get to hear at the end of a meeting?
The world needs more of it.
Yeah.
Because everybody understood all of the action that we're walking away with from that meeting, and we all know what we're doing tomorrow.
Yep.
And we're putting our trust in each other to make sure that that happens.
That's awesome.
So every meeting, I look forward to that. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a good meeting. I already know it's coming. Very last thing you hear is love you guys, and then click, the meeting goes down. With that being said,
In
I appreciate
3,
everybody's time.
2, it's like, no.
I really do appreciate everybody's time. I definitely appreciate everybody that stuck around. I know we definitely went way over, but it's awesome to have these conversations.